6 of the hostages went out a back exit.
Where are they? The Canadian ambassador's house.
Got Revolutionary Guards going door to door. These people die. They die badly. White House, he wants the 6 of them out.
What we like for this are bicycles.
Deliver the 6 bikes, provide them with maps.
Or you could just send in training wheels and meet them at the border with Gatorade.
It's gonna take a miracle to get them out.
Fighting man, what are we watching?
I got an idea.
They're a Canadian film crew for a science fiction movie.
I fly into Tehran. We all fly out together as a film crew. I need you to help me make a fake movie.
So you want to come to Hollywood and act like a big shot without actually doing anything?
Yeah.
You'll fit right in. You need a script?
Argo, science fantasy adventure.
Moonscape, Mars, desert.
They need an exotic location to shoot.
You need a producer.
If I'm doing a fake movie, it's going to be a fake hit.
You don't have a better bad idea than this?
This is the best bad idea we have, sir. By far.
All right, so that should have been some of the trailer for Argo, the new Ben Affleck-directed film starring Ben Affleck as a CIA specialist along with Bryan Cranston. And they are trying to work out a collaboration to rescue 6 Americans who are currently in, or this is in this, 1980?
1980. 79? 80?
79, 80. Yeah. Basically, the Iranian Revolution has happened. A lot of American hostages have been taken from the embassy, but some managed to escape and are currently hiding with the Canadian ambassador. Meanwhile, back in the U.S., as I said, Affleck and Bryan Cranston are CIA specialists among others, trying to come up with a plan to get the Americans out of Iran safely. And Affleck comes up with a plan to make a fake movie, and he'll have the Americans in Iran posing as a fake Canadian film crew who are scouting locations, and hopefully they'll be able to make fake IDs for them and get them across the border. The movie that they're fake making is called Argo, and they bring in Alan Arkin as a producer and John Goodman as a makeup effects specialist to help fake produce the movie. So, lots of high-stakes hijinks ensue. Alan Aguilera, what did you think of Argo?
It was a great movie. I've been really excited for all of Ben Affleck's movies because his first film, Got Me Begun, was a Dennis Lehane novel, and I really liked the book, and I watched the film, and I thought it was a good representation of that, and I thought it was a good calling card for him to be like, you know what, I'm more than just... Matt Damon wasn't the brains behind Good Will Hunting. And then The Town came out, and I thought that was a really, really, really good crime bank robber movie. I thought it was really, really well executed. The ending was kind of, okay, that's kind of cliche, but that's fine.
It was hard.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And then I was really excited for Argo because I remember reading about this story a while ago, I think on Cracked, and I was like, oh, that's a really cool story. That'd be a cool movie. And then I heard he was doing it, and I was a little jealous. I was like, I could have done that. But it actually met my expectations, and I thought it was really well done. It was really well executed. I knew the ending of it, yet I was still enthralled in the entire thing. So it was really well done, well acted, well written. He really had a lot of attention to detail in the period, which I thought was really cool. I haven't seen something like that since Zodiac, where they really wanted to make sure everything was circa 1980. So I honestly think it's one of the best movies of the year.
Mark?
I really enjoyed Argo. When you hear about a period piece, about a diplomatic crisis, your eyes might be liable to glaze over. And I thought, even though...
Mine flare up. It's crazy.
What's that?
Mine get really excited. I'm like, what?
Get excited? Oh, okay. Well, but even though it's based on a true story of a political nature, it never feels like a history lesson. It's really, intense. He builds suspense really well. There's like a constant feeling of anxiety that things could go wrong at any moment. And there's like a part, when the 6 evacuees got to leave the protective safety of the home that they're staying at, and there's just like one moment after another of just like unbearable pressure, and you really kind of like experience that with them, and it's you feel it. So I thought he did a brilliant job at telling the story. And one thing that I didn't expect in a film about hostages is that there's actually a surprising amount of humor that's kind of woven into the script, but particularly in the first half when he's trying to create this deception. and the characters, the film guys, Alan Arkin and John Goodman, that they portray are very funny, and it's sort of something that happens before they get there, but the building of this fake movie that they need to make it seem real was actually really humorous. It was actually almost even a comment on Hollywood and stuff, and I kind of like that sort of unexpected humor that that they added to it. Once they get there, it definitely has the reverent feel that this is a serious film, but I didn't expect the humor, so I thought it was a really good blending of historical fact and then this other humorous aspect. So yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yep.
This is a very, very good movie. It's definitely what I was thinking is it's a big boy movie, meaning that it doesn't really rely on action or ridiculous money shots. It's just more good direction, good acting, solid cast. It's really good. I really liked it. It's one of my favorites of the year so far. I think that it was pretty good in terms of just giving people an overall history lesson as well. I know that Mark probably doesn't maybe fully agree with that, but it's just more of you can tell people about a situation that really happened and not make it crazy embellished. Especially at the end there where they're showing those shots, shot-for-shot remakes, and then also the message from President Carter. And it's pretty amazing. I kind of really didn't know about this. It's difficult to understand that these have to be classified for 50 years, and then when it's released, it's a profound impact. I mean, the Canadian government took credit for some of the efforts in this mission, and then the CIA agent involved was never fully recognized until years later, like decades later. So it's an amazing story.
Yeah, right there with everybody. The movie was pretty fantastic. I was really into it, and I remember I also I knew this story, and I heard about it like a few years ago, but I kind of forgot a lot of the details, and so I specifically didn't look up anything about it. So I was literally like just right there, like, what's going to happen at the end of this movie? And I was really happy with how everything was handled and how great the tension is in the movie. I think that what Affleck does is kind of amazing. Like, he makes this really, really solid, just like a thriller where you're just on the edge of your seat watching this movie and when it gets to like its final minutes. But before that, just all the setup that goes into it is really well handled. I also appreciated the kind of the eye for detail and like getting this setting down. I liked all these actors. It's great assortment of character actors in this movie, and everybody kept popping up, including friend of the show Kyle Chandler. Like, yeah. I was like, wow, everyone. I tweeted this. Everyone that's not in Steven Spielberg's Lincoln is apparently in Ben Affleck's Argo. Like, that's like everybody's in this movie as far as character actors goes, and everyone's quite good, which is also something I was very happy with. Like, everyone's very good without kind of calling attention to themselves, with the exception of Alan Arkin, who, he's playing an Alan Arkin character, and he's kind of required to be that way. Everyone else is very understated in the movie, including Affleck as the lead. Like, no one's going over the top of any kind of performance. They all feel like people that are trying to get a job done, and that's why I really like this movie. It doesn't rely on, like Abe said, it doesn't rely on any over the top action scenes or money shots. It's just about kind of accomplishing a mission at hand, and it's very effective in doing that. It's very well written. There's a lot of levity in the film also that makes it that keeps kind of, you're already enthralled in it, but it keeps it from being a somber experience because it's just a really enjoyable film to watch. And so yeah, I really really enjoyed this movie. It's quick paced.
It is, yeah,
for like a
film that's 2 hours.
I was like, we're getting to the home stretch here. I didn't realize how fast we're moving.
Yeah, and the scenes of tension were really tense, and I don't know if they're all accurate, but I mean, when some of the folks being rounded up in the basement, I was really worried about what was going to happen. So good on Ben for being able to convey these emotions to us. So yeah,
I did read that the final act, I won't go into it in detail, but the final act does sort of rewrite the truth a little bit in order to make the suspense more heart pounding. And as I was watching it, I have to admit, I sort of I didn't know how it. I mean, I knew the general ending, but I didn't know the details. And I kind of did sort of go, come on, was it really like that? That's almost like a movie. And then when I read about it after I'd seen it, I did read that he did sort of stretch the truth. I don't fault him for that because it is a movie, and he doesn't stretch the truth in any major way that actually changes like major events, but he makes it a little bit more cinematic. But I mean, I appreciated it while I was watching it, but I did kind of question, like, come on, really? And anyway,
I was with it. It's just a movie to me. Like, it's beyond like how accurate it need to be. I was with it just because of how effective I thought the tension was. Like, regardless of like how truthful it feels. Like, it just goes beyond that.
It didn't. I mean, I still enjoyed it, and I was there the whole way. But the ending did seem a little bit like it was out of a Hollywood movie. And then when I read that he did stretch the truth, it kind of said, okay, that makes sense.
I'm with you too, Mark. Yeah, the ending, everything was great. The ending was just one of those things where it wasn't as, I guess, original. It just seemed like it was something that, I've seen time and time again. But the other thing I want to bring up is good on the folks for being able to establish this sense of the CIA agent for being able to really take this initiative and, carry out this plan, even though there were a lot of obstacles in the way. If that is wholly accurate the way that it's been depicted, I mean, that's a ballsy move.
Yeah, I think that part is true. I think another thing that this movie kind of brought to mind was that although the Canadian ambassador should be commended for what he did, it's interesting that there was this whole other side to the rescue effort that people didn't know for years and years, and then it makes you question how many events in history do we believe to be the truth and realize, and I'm sure there are other things that have happened that haven't been declassified, that we believe to be a certain way.
That's one of the things that I thought about too, which is, you might not think like such and such president was the greatest president or he didn't do anything in office, but I mean, the level of secrecy that is involved with presidents, terms in office is so high that you will never know everything that they would have to have been through. And it's just amazing. I mean, people think, oh, President Carter, he didn't really do too much. But to be able to keep this a secret for so long, I mean, this is just one of probably tons of secrets that the U.S. executed back in the day. It's amazing. So good on everybody for being in the clandestine service for helping us out.
And Jimmy Carter has a nice smile too. Let's not overlook this.
He's got a nice charm about him, his voice as well.
And John Goodman plays an actual makeup artist that actually existed. His name was John Chambers, and he worked on the Planet of the Apes. I mean, that guy had to keep it a secret. You might say, okay, well, the president, he has to do that. But this guy was just a makeup artist. I mean, a very
Oscar-winning makeup.
Yeah, exactly, Oscar-winning one. But I mean, he was being asked to keep this a secret, and obviously he did as well. So.
Right.
With all the secrets that the American government does, I wouldn't be surprised if Barack Obama wasn't black.
I don't know about that. Yeah.
Let's talk about the style of the movie a little bit. Alan, you mentioned Zodiac as like maybe like the last movie you saw that had like the same kind of level of detail to it.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised, like, because after watching like Zodiac and watching like the behind the scenes kind of stuff and seeing how much post-production work was done to like make it look that way, I would not be surprised to see how much was done to make Argo look a certain way that it does. But with that said, it looks great. Like the movie, like it feels just like it's right out of that time zone, and and just even like the kind of the cinematography, how he's handling it, feel like it has a kind of graininess to it that just makes it. Just puts it right in that place. Yeah.
No, from what I understand, he shot in the same kind of film that he would have used back in the day, and then he blew it up to kind of give it that grainy feel. This movie honestly had me at the beginning with the Warner Brothers logo.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, that was an awesome logo.
That was like the coolest thing. I was so into it.
But another thing that I loved is like when he went to visit his child, and his room was all filled with Star Wars like toys and I was like, yes, that's like totally like that is what a child's bedroom would look like in 1979.
Except he had a toy of Boba Fett who would not have existed as a toy just then. But
which one?
A toy of Boba Fett who would not have existed.
Oh,
I did not know that.
I didn't even notice that.
Special,
I
right?
completely because it's a big shot of Boba Fett. Like that toy would not exist at that point.
Oh, okay.
Aaron.
Yep.
But Boba Fett was in the Christmas special, and I think he came out as an early pre-release toy.
Not as the colors that they had the same color.
The colors.
Whoa!
Only
All right.
you would know that.
Man, that's a keen eye you have.
That is either the nerdiest thing you've ever said or the sexiest thing you've ever said.
Alan, I have Boba Fett shoes.
You do. No, you have Boba Fett Batman shoes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Also, I don't think Gatorade was introduced until later in the 80s.
No, wait. Gatorade goes back far.
But I don't think the actual brand, whatever.
Gatorade predates water.
They drank it over in Jerusalem back in the day.
Regardless, the detail of this movie is pretty spectacular. Like it looks like it's a great looking movie. It fits right in with like other kind of like 70s, early 80s kind of thriller movies. It feels like something like Robert Redford would make back in the day.
Like it feels like like the conversation with Coppola. Forget it.
I know.
I wasn't trying to be funny. I was just okay.
What do you guys think of the score?
Alexander Desplat?
Yeah, Desplat. I don't know, but
no,
I thought
it was quite good.
Serviceable.
It fit.
Yeah, it was serviceable, but nothing that I would rush out and be like, oh wow, I should get that score.
What do you guys think about its chances for being nominated and then winning Best Picture?
At this rate, fantastic.
Yeah, like a lot of technical awards I can imagine seeing. I can see maybe for writing. It depends on how, I guess, popular it stays throughout the season, if it's going to get into like a Best Picture kind of category.
See, I think it deserves to be nominated for Best Picture. It's definitely one of the best. But The Town, I also felt, was one of the best of that year, and that didn't. So, maybe this time.
I mean, I thought The Town was fun. It's an entertaining movie. It's a crowd pleaser, but I wouldn't think it's like a Best Picture contender.
Like it was one of my favorites of the year, but
because I know there was a lot of discussion about that when The Town came out.
Well, you know why it didn't win, right? There wasn't a dude stuttering bad words in it. Especially royalty.
What was Jeremy Renner doing in that movie?
Well, yeah.
Okay,
with Argo, I think it has a better chance because of the content.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
Because of the execution more so than The Town. The Town is just a bank robber, Boston movie. So it wouldn't really essentially be the same thing.
I mean, I agree. I mean, Affleck's 3 for 3 with me as well, but I like Gone Baby Gone and Argo more than The Town.
The Town's my favorite, I think.
I can't pick a favorite.
Hard. They're all up there. It's like
they're like your kids.
Exactly.
Because there's sequences that stand out in every film. Well, like the Gone Baby Gone sequence where he's in the house and he finds the thing in the bathtub. That's really, really striking and haunting. And then The Town has the chase scene through the streets. And then Argo has the movie. So,
as far as Argo goes, did anyone have any actor in particular that they really liked in this movie? Anyone that stood out? Because there's a big cast here.
There is a big cast.
Like you said, Alan Arkin kind of, he has one of the most showy roles. And John Goodman, I mean, the two of them, I think, are the closest to giving like an actual performance. I thought everybody was good, but those were the ones that kind of stuck out as like, noticeable.
How about the horses of Achilles? No good. Nobody does westerns anymore. It's ancient Troy. If it's got horses in it, it's a western.
Yeah, Kenny, please? Yeah, it's John Chambers about the Office Space.
It doesn't matter.
It's a fake movie.
If I'm doing a fake movie, it's going to be a fake hit.
Hey, is A006 still on the open list? Yeah, I'll hold.
Fade in on a starship landing. An exotic Middle Eastern vibe. Women gather offering ecstatic libations to the sky gods. Argo. Science fantasy adventure.
It's in turnaround.
Can we get the option?
Why do we need the option?
You're worried about the Ayatollah? Try the WGA.
I think Affleck and company kind of did a lot of stunt casting with this, just to kind of fill it with character actors that everybody likes. so they don't have to do that much legwork in getting you to like these people. I think the really smart American that got out, I can't remember his name.
Which one?
I think he was really good. He was the one who was always kind of ambivalent towards the idea, and he ended up shaking. He's also in Killing Them Softly.
Scoot McNairy.
Yeah, I think he did a really good job, and I think he, out of all the other ones, stood out the most for me, acting-wise.
Where were you born?
Halifax, Nova Scotia.
What's your date of birth?
February 21st, 1952.
Good. What's your job on the movie?
Producer.
Associate producer. What was the last movie you produced?
High and Dry.
Who paid for that?
CFTC.
What's your middle name? What's your middle name? What's your middle name?
Leon?
Shoot him. He's an American spy. Look, they're going to try to break you, okay? By trying to get you agitated. You have to know your resume back to front.
You really believe your little story is going to make a difference when there's a gun to our heads?
I think my story is the only thing between you and a gun to your head.
Okay.
Because Tate Donovan's Tate Donovan, and Rory Cochran's always funny, but yeah, I think, what was his name? Scoot McNairy. Scoot McNairy, yeah. He was good. And Clea Duvall's Clea Duvall. But,
and Carrie Bish is, from Scrubs, season 9. I was like, oh, yeah, look, there's that girl from Scrubs.
But, yeah, no, it's just kind of weird because he kind of has some of his regulars, like Titus Welliver, is in it for like 2 seconds, and then Zeljko Ivanek is in it. It's just, and Richard Kind was in it for like 2 seconds, and I thought that was a really fun scene.
Yeah, very small part.
But yeah.
Something that you brought up, Aaron, I think you brought this up in the past, is just Bryan Cranston seems to do like on-off roles.
Yeah, so he's kind of, he seems like he's 3 for 1, where every 3 bad movies he seems to be in, he's in like one really good movie.
You're telling me that there is a movie company in Hollywood right now that is funded by the CIA?
Yes, sir.
What's wrong with the bikes again?
We tried to get the message upstairs, sir.
You think this is more plausible than teachers?
Yes, we do. One, there are no more foreign teachers in Iran.
And we think everybody knows Hollywood people. And everybody knows they'd shoot in Stalingrad with Pol Pot directing if it would sell tickets. There are only bad options. It's about finding the best one.
You don't have a better bad idea than this?
This is the best bad idea we have, sir. By far.
Tell me his last bad movie.
Total Recall.
Tell me his last bad movie.
Rock of Ages.
Tell me his last. He was in Rock of Ages.
Red Tails.
To be fair, though, he does play a lot of like the army brass or military.
And he also has Contagion and Drive. I mean,
I think that he does a good job in this film, but I don't think it's the greatest role. I mean, it's not the most. It's sort of like a lot of people could have played that, I think.
See, we go back to this again, and the fact is, where I come from it is, he did play this role, and he played it well. Like, he didn't do bad. I'm not saying it's a stand-up performance, but, I mean, just because anyone could play a certain role doesn't mean it's a bad move or anything. Like, I think it works. Like, he did a good job.
And he's been doing so much meth that, like, you can see all the wrinkles in his face.
All right, well, let's get to our rating for Argo then. Each week on Out Now, we try to rate movies based on when you should go and see them, and we have a scale that goes from IMAX to theater to dollar theater, Netflix, HBO, TV, or just kind of forget about it. Mark, where on that scale would you put this movie?
Yeah, I'd say IMAX. I think it's definitely one of the best of the year and well worth seeing.
Abe, where would you put this movie on that scale?
Yeah, that's crazy. I was actually thinking IMAX too, probably because it's really one of the best movies of the year so far, and overall, it's a great film. Just if you're a history buff or anything else.
Yeah, I would agree. I would put that right in the IMAX just in terms of you should go see this movie because it's really good.
Yeah.
Alan.
I don't know. Probably at Thanksgiving at your mother-in-law's house, which she has it on in the background.
Kind of like a forget about it, right?
Yeah. No. IMAX. If you can somehow get it, during production, watch it then. But it's good. It's a good movie. I enjoy it very much.
All right.